Thanks for staying with us. Please, Lord, help us today. All right, so generally, freedom of expression connotes the liberty of every person to openly discuss issues, hold opinions, and impact ideas without restrictions, restraint, or fear of punishment. It is undoubtedly a right to be enjoyed by every person who is not. And freedom of speech and expression, therefore, may not be recognized as being absolute and can. And common limitations or boundaries to freedom of speech relate to libel, slander, obscenity, pornography, sedition, incitement, fighting words, classified information, copyright violation, trade secrets, food labeling, non-disclosure agreements, the right to privacy, dignity, and the right to be forgotten, public security, and perjury. Now, in Nigeria, what would we term as freedom of expression, and where do we draw the line, especially as it relates to all the recent events in our nation? Okay, there's IPOB, there's Twitter ban, there's the president's speech that we just talked about. There's also secession, calls for structural reforms or constitutional reforms. Now, that's our conversation tonight. We want to understand where do we draw the line, both from the point of government trying to gag us as citizens and us as citizens. Where do we draw the line when we want to express ourselves? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so I don't know who I'm going to start with first. So let me start with Uti. Uti Elu, over to you.
What am I supposed to say in this freedom of expression matter?
Express yourself.
Freedom of expression is important, first of all. But with great power comes great responsibility. So whichever side of the divide you're on, you have the right to your opinion. You have the right to your views. There should be the understanding that your views are not more important than anyone else's, and no one else's views are more important than yours. But the reality of it is, everything I've just said is in the world of black and white. However, we live in the world of gray. We live in the world of the truth according to you, the truth according to me, your truth, my truth. We're keeping it real. And when that happens, we don't have a clear line. So we can't draw a line right now between what is too far. When it was, this is right, wrong is wrong, we could, because everybody would stand and say, you've gone too far. But now there's somebody out there who is perfectly sane, perfectly normal, who will be able to justify that thing that you are saying is completely absurd. And that's where we are today. So when we talk about freedom of expression, when we talk about people being allowed to say what they truly think, yes, you must be able to do that. But you also have a responsibility to ensure that when you do express your opinions, when you do express yourself, that you're not doing it at the risk of somebody else. You're not doing it to the detriment of somebody else. So it's a fine balance. So how, I guess the conversation is today, how do we find that balance, given that there are no absolutes anymore in today's world of expression, of thought, of platform, because now we talk about social media. Everywhere is agog at the moment with the Twitter ban. You can argue for and against it. Again, there's no black and whites. We're talking gray. If we all want to be candid, we have all seen one post, at least one post, that has made us think, man, my dad have been one too far. My dad have crossed our personal lines, even if we say there's no general line. But at least we've at some point seen something that has crossed our personal line that makes us think perhaps there should be some rules. But then we also enjoy that freedom to be able to go and express ourselves on these platforms. Who should call the shots? Who should tell us what is right or wrong? The government's point of view is that the platform should not have a right to tell us what is right or wrong. The government should have a say whether it's from the perspective of protecting themselves or protecting the people or protecting the nation. The people say they have a right to express themselves. You can call whichever constitution, the Nigerian one, the African one, the global one, human rights. There's so many ways. Like I said, everything is justifiable. There's a way somehow to explain everything these days. So the truth is, how do we begin to go back to absolutes where we can say,
is it
this
possible?
is the line? And
Let me come to Marianne. Is it possible to go back to absolute? Where we are, we've gone too far, you know, in terms of my truth, your truth. So nobody would want to take that absolute. Now, if I tell you this thing you're doing is wrong now, it's serious fight, you know. But let me come to Marianne.
It's really, like you said, where your right stops, mine begins. So I might be of the school of thought that you don't have to bare your body to be beautiful or to be sexy. And, well, you're of the school of thought that I'm a feminist, I can bare my body, and that's sexy to me. Who says that that's not sexy? So, yes, there's that imbroglio of where should we draw the line. But when it comes to an entity like Nigeria or common laws, rules, regulations, for example, let's use the Twitter ban as an example. I am totally against, but I'm somewhat for regulating these kinds of spaces. Like Uti said, there are some messages that you see, there's some posts that you see, and you think to yourself, wow, did this person read it before posting it? Because you have obviously crossed the line. But because that space might not be as regulated as it should be, and then there is no sieve as to what is truth and what is fact. Your truth might not be a fact. And I, as a journalist, I only work with facts. So I would disapprove of what you post because I will bring facts to back my position, saying that, okay, constitutionally or worldwidely, this is wrong and this is why. But I might not embrace it because I feel that this is my truth and I'm bearing it. Should we have regulations on the Twitter space, Facebook? Yes. That's why Facebook has rules and regulations that if you violate it, they could flag your tweet, they could take it down, they could even suspend your account. But the truth is, this space is unregulated. I mean Twitter's sphere. Who owns Twitter? One person. He's a Jew. If, for example, there's something that is happening in Nigeria that, as a Jew, and I'm not saying that Jack is, you know, a political person, he might be apolitical, but could he have the powers to influence or fuel something in Nigeria that could cause somebody to be removed? Yes. This is where countries need to be able to regulate. But the way we're going about it, is it right?
No.
So
that's where we're talking about drawing the line.
Drawing the line.
Even the government's attempt to seem like, it almost seems like because, you know, we need to be able to draw the line in terms of criticism, constructive criticism, and when somebody is just outrightly being rude. Like the slap to the president now. That was it was completely uncalled for. That's a no-no. You can't say because I want to express how I feel. I feel the anger inside of me. You now give another human being. Slap. Even forget whether you're a president or not a president. You slap another human being because you want to express the anger that you feel. That's a no-no. And that's the same kind of expression that would make somebody beat up his wife or whatever it is. You know, because you think you have that right. Because the anger is boiling inside of you, you have that right to express it. So there has to be rules. And those are the rules that guides us, that now keeps us sane. But let me hear your thought, Jennifer, because you see now, it seems like for us, because we're bringing it now back to Nigeria, it seems like at every given time, it's always a thing of, oh, if they just say this thing, they are anti-government. They are anti-government. Nobody is seeing it that maybe citizens are genuinely upset and angry about certain things that they are not saying that should be happening in their country. So where do we draw the line in terms of, okay, it is maybe you're attacking a government or you're actually just telling them maybe the truth?
Currently, I think that the lines are blurred when it comes to freedom of expression. And that's because a lot of people are hypocrites. And then also there is a bias. Now, Miriam can say something, maybe because she's my favorite person, and then she would express herself. I'm like, oh yeah, go Miriam. And then while you say something, I'm like, why do you have to say that? And I've seen it countless times. Now, when you bring it down to the government where they feel attacked, now the fact that you feel attacked that someone is trying to tell you that, see, what you're doing isn't right, you're not supposed to treat your citizens like this, I think that is when you should actually sit down and do a self-reflection. But because you don't want to own up to the fact that you've not been doing a very great job, then you feel attacked. Like I said the last time, it was yesterday when I was on the show, and I said, the government is just throwing tantrums. They don't want you to come for them. They don't want you to tell them, oh, you're not doing this right. It's only a child that you tell, oh, why did you put the cup here? I already told you not to put it here. Why are you putting it here? As an adult, you know from time that it shouldn't be there. So why do you need people to actually tell you what to do? Now, when you see that a large sum of people keep saying the same thing and they keep saying the same thing, and I feel like NSAS kind of like sets a precedent. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing now, because you have people in government who are scared. Because one person started something, one person was bold enough to say, oh, I think we need to end this. We are not comfortable with this. Enough of being silent. We are expressing ourselves. We're trying to let you know that what you're doing is wrong. What you've been doing to us, like for a very long time, is wrong. And now we are tired, and we're saying we are tired. Now everybody took to the streets. One person started, a group of people started from 10, it entered 100, from 100 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 5,000. Now you see that people are coming together to talk about one thing, to express themselves in different voices.
Their displeasure.
Now you have a problem with it. And when it comes to freedom of expression, let's leave, I've talked about the government, let's talk about us. Now you see things that people post online and you're like, you don't have to say that. Like,
oh, you thinking?
Yeah. Why do you have to say that? I understand the need to express yourself, but there's some certain things you shouldn't say to people. Like Uti said that you should not say things that would hurt people. I might want to give you constructive criticism, but at the same time, I'm not doing it in the way that would actually criticize you in a way that you should understand.
Yeah.
I'm just outrightly coming out to attack you. I'm coming out to hurt you just because I have freedom of speech. Or I can do this. We all have a right to say what we want to say. Yes, you have a right, but how you say it matters.
My right starts where your own stops.
Exactly.
How you say it matters. Like the guy who's like, why should you?
You don't even try it. But you know what? Let's take a very short break. Very short. We'll just go in and come back. We want to open the phone lines to hear you, to hear what you have to say. Stay with us.